In 2011, Red Brush was introduced to a ministry opportunity called Touched Twice United, and it's basically a community outreach where the church provides free services to the community in a variety of ways. You have haircuts, oil changes, you have free clothing, medical services, school supplies. The list can go on and on, however many or how little you want to do. And the idea of it all was to touch the community twice. Touch them both physically with their physical needs, but most importantly to touch them spiritually through the love of Christ. We decided to have the outreach on a Sunday, and that gives our guests an opportunity to come to church, to make that first step through the door, because a lot of times that's an intimidating thing to do. So the team decided to call the outreach No Strings Attached instead of the Touch Twice United, meaning you can come, get the free services without any obligation to repay, basically like our gift of salvation is free. The big question that first year, do you remember what that big question was?
How many people are we going to have?
Exactly, and we didn't have any idea, but we prayed a lot about it, and we just turned it over to God to have Him take care of that, and of course He did. And over the next 2 years, the same question came up, but it grew, and God always provided. And so we know this year that God will provide again with free services and with the guests who will come.
Matthew 10:8 says, "Freely you have received, freely give." This outreach event became much bigger than what we first anticipated. When we went into it, we were thinking that we would do this for the community, but it soon became evident to us that this was about what God was going to do in us, how He was going to take the weaknesses and our flaws of our heart, kind of the inmost parts where we don't really talk about a lot, and He was going to expose where maybe we needed to do some housekeeping. And that really comes to play with our expectations of people. When people come to our church and when we offer them things, what do we expect of them in return? And we wanted to make sure, that's why we called it No Strings Attached. We wanted to make sure that not only are these services free of charge, but that they're free of expectation, free of judgment. Meaning we don't expect anyone to come back to church. We don't expect them to place their membership. We don't expect a thank you in return. We don't expect compliments. We don't expect a pat on the back. Everything we do for Jesus Christ, knowing that He freely gave to us. So we want to invite you to join with us in this discipline of putting ourselves aside and putting others first, and just to put on the love of Christ through smiles and through acts of service. And we want to encourage you to be reading your bulletin and your newsletter that's coming up this month. It will give you specific ways that you can donate or that you can get involved on that day or even prior to that day. In June 29th, we'll have a special Sunday where you can sign up and get a t-shirt for that day to wear on that day, and you can also find a place of service. You can volunteer and find out more how to donate towards that event. Matthew West's song is kind of our theme song this year. Do you want to tell them about it?
The name of the song is entitled Do Something, and basically each of us has a gift or a talent that God has given us, and we don't want to step back and say, well, someone else can do it, but we all have that gift, that ability that we can use to serve God. And we want to challenge you all to find a spot to volunteer in and come on June the 29th, sign up, and we could use your donations, and we could just use a smiling face, and we just challenge you to do something on that day.